So hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Abhishek on the other side. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon in order to get the latest notification first. So without much further ado, let's start our today's video. So today we are going to talk about Q. So let's first understand what is Q. Now Q is a linear data structure. So I have already talked about vectors and stacks, right? Which are similar to the linear data structures just like Q. So let's first take an array. So let's take an array of size 3. Now in this array you can see that there is only one path, right? But if you compare it with trees, in tree what happens? Let's consider a binary tree. Now in binary tree if you see, so let's consider this binary tree, okay? You can say that this can be a path, right? And similarly this can also be a path, and similarly this can also be a path. So there are multiple paths in binary tree, right? And hence it is non-linear in nature. Now this Q follows the principle of FIFO. So now let's understand what is this FIFO. So FIFO is nothing but first in first out. Now what do you mean by that? So let's consider a ticket counter. So let's say that we have a ticket counter. Now in a ticket counter what happens? The guy who gets into the queue at first gets the ticket first, right? So let's say that we have like 10 people in a queue, right? We have like 10 people. Now out of these 10 people, the guy which is going to get the ticket first is this guy, right? That is guy 1, because he came to the queue at first, right? So this is how the queue actually works in data structure. So in queue we have this two ends. One is the front end and another one is the rear end. Now what is this front end and rear end? So let's say that we have a queue. Okay, so let's consider a queue. So let's draw a queue. Let's consider a queue of size 3. So there are 3 blocks in it, right? Now this you can consider to be a front end, and this you can consider to be the rear end, right? So now let's see different types of queue. The first one in the list is simple queue. So let's first see what is this a simple queue. So in queue we mainly perform these operations. The first operation we can perform in simple queue is, one is the enqueue operation, and next one is the dequeue operation. Next we have the get front, get rear, is empty, and then we have is full. So let's first understand what is this enqueue operation. So at first let's take an queue, okay? Now the size of the queue is 3. So in queue there is 2 fields, one is the front and one is the back, okay? So let's consider this to be the front and this to be the rear end, okay? So currently our front, that is F, is actually initialized to -1, let's say, and our rear is also -1, okay? So these are the values of rear and front. Now let's say that we want to enqueue 4. We want to enqueue 4 in our queue, okay? Or we want to insert 4 in our queue. Now when you perform insertion, what are you gonna do? We need to change this rear. So rear is currently at -1. So the index of this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, okay? So rear is currently -1. So we need to at first increment this rear to 0. So rear will be pointing to this index 0. And hence we are going to enqueue 4 into this queue. So next let's say that we again want to enqueue 5 into this queue. If you enqueue 5, again this area will be increment, and now it will be pointing to this index 1, and hence we are going to increment, we are going to insert 5 into our queue. Now let's say again we want to insert 6, right? This time again this rear will increase, and now it will point to this index 2, and 6 will be inserted. Now if we try to perform, now if you again try to enqueue any other element, let's say 7 into our queue, now what will happen? This will show an overflow. What does it mean? It means that that our queue is full. So at this time, if you run this is full function, then it will return a true value, because it is currently full, as you can see, right? So now let's perform the dequeue operation. So dequeue means popping the elements from the queue. Now we know that queue follows the principle of FIFO, that is first in first out, right? And that means the element which is pushed into our queue at first will be popped first, right? So we have pushed 4 into our queue at first, right? And hence this will be the one which is going to pop. Now this time we are going to increment our front. Now front is currently -1, right? And rear is over here. So we need to at first increment our front to 0, right? So now our front will be pointing to this index, right? So currently our front is over here, and hence we are going to pop this out from so hence we are going to pop this element from our queue, right? And next again we perform a dequeue operation. If we perform again dequeue operation, again this front will increment, and now it will point to this index 1, and hence we are going to pop this element from the queue, right? Now let's say that we perform this operation get front. Now when you perform this operation get front, what we will do, we need to actually print this value, right? Because our front is over here, and this 5 is already deleted, right? So we need to increment our front to this at first, right? Or we can say the front plus 1. Okay, so and hence we are going to print this 6. Now if you want to get rear, all you need to do is to, now rear is currently pointing to this index 6 only, right? So we just need to print this element 6, and that's what we want to do, right? Now let's say that we again perform a dequeue operation. If you perform a dequeue operation again, now this front will be over here, that is front will be equals to the rear, right? Now when our front is equals to layer, right? Right, and this 6 will be popped out from the queue. Now if we want to perform dequeue operation further, what will happen? This front will increment, right? And hence the front will become greater than this rear, right? And hence at this time it will show an underflow condition, right? And over here, if you run this thing that is empty, then it is going to return true, because currently our queue is empty, right? Since we have popped or we have dequeued each and every element from the queue, right? Now let's talk about the disadvantage of queue. So let's consider a queue, okay? So let's say that we push 1, 2 and 3 into our queue, right? So currently our rear will be over here, right? And our front will be at -1, you can consider, right? Now if we try to enqueue any other element into our queue, let's say 4, then it is going to show an overflow error, right? Because the queue is full. But let's say that we dequeue an element, right? Let's say we dequeue 1 from our queue. Now the front will be pointing to this index, right? That's this index, right? Index 0. Now if we try to enqueue right now what will happen? Still it will show an overflow condition. Yeah, because we can't increment our R, right? It has already reached to the end of the queue. So how can we increment our R? and hence this is one of the disadvantage of queue, because even if there is free space in our queue, right, still we cannot insert element into our queue. So this problem can be solved using circular queue. So let's see how we can remove the disadvantage of simple queue using circular queue. So let's consider a queue of size, let's say 400, right. Now let's say that you push elements 3, 2, 1 and 0 in this fashion, right. So 3 will be over here, 2 will be over here, 1 will be over here and 0 will be over here, okay, while our front will be facing to this guy, right, and your rear will be facing this guy. Now if you perform a pop operation, or you can say a dequeue operation, then this 3 will be removed, right. So now your front will be facing to the over here, right. Now let's say that you want to insert or you want to enqueue 4 into the queue. Now what will happen? This rear will come over here. So currently your front is over here, right. So this rear will be come to this index, to index 0, and hence 4 will be pushed over here or enqueue over here, right. And hence this is how the circular queue removes the disadvantage of simple queue, okay. And next we have in our list is double-ended queue. So let's first understand this insert front, right. So let's take a queue at first. So let's insert some elements into this queue. So currently our front is over here, okay. This is our front and this is our rear. Now let's say that we want to perform insert front 4, okay. Now if you perform this operation, now we need to decrease our front. Now the front is currently at index 1, right. So we need to decrease our front to index 0 at first, and then we are going to insert 4 over here. Now currently our front will be pointing to this, and this is how you perform the insert front operation. That is, we are going to decrement this front. Now let's say that we want to insert rear 5, okay. So let's first increase the size of the queue at okay, a bit more. So let's say that the queue contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, okay. Now currently our rear is over here, and if we perform this insert rear operation, now this rear will tends to move in this direction, okay. Now since the rear is moving in this direction, so this is where the 5 will be inserted, and your rear will be currently pointing to over here, right. So you can just cut this rear, cut this front. Now next operation we are going to see is delete front. Now if you know, currently our front is pointing to 4, right. Now if you want to perform delete operation, what will happen? This we need to increment our front. Now if we increment our front, so we need to pop this element from the queue, and now front will be pointing to this, right, pointing to this element, that is 1, right. And next we are having delete rear. Now if you perform this delete rear operation, now rear is currently pointing to this index, that is index 4, right. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right. Now if you perform this delete rear operation, now rear will tend to move in this direction, right, towards the left, and so now this rear end will be pointing to this index, right, and hence this is how we perform this 3 operation. So apart from these methods, we have also get front and get rear. We have is full and is empty methods also are there. So what this get front method do? It is actually tells me what is the element. So currently, since we have performed this delete operation, right, after this delete operation, so currently our front is pointing to this element 1. So if you write get front, so 1 will be printed. And if you write get rear, so currently our rear is pointing to 3, so it will be printed to 3 will be printed over here. Now if our queue becomes empty, then our is empty condition will be true, else it will be false. Now if our queue is full, right, that is each of the elements in the queue is inserted with an element, inserted by an element, then it will be showing is full will be true, right. And hence this is all about double-ended queue. So let's see the application of queue. Now you So if you are an engineer background, so you must have heard about CPU scheduling in operating system. Now in this CPU scheduling, there is a one of the scheduling which is known as FCFS. Now what's the full form of it? First come first serve scheduling. Now what does happen over here? So let's say that we have three processes, P1, P2 and P3, right? And let's say that P1 gets into a ready queue. Now what is this ready queue? Ready queue, you can consider it to be a line of the ticket counter, okay? So let's say the arrival time of P1 be 0, arrival time of P2 be 2 and arrival time of P3 be 1, okay? Now currently we have a CPU. Now initially the CPU is said to be idle, that is it is not executing any tasks. Now since the arrival time of P1 is lower as compared to the others, so P1 will be the one which will get into the queue at first, right? So now since CPU is idle, so CPU will start processing P1, right? So this will be removed from the queue. Now let's say while CPU is processing P1, P3 gets into the queue. Now since P3 gets into the queue, so P3 will be over here, and let's say after a few minutes P2 also gets into the queue, right? Now what do you think that which of these two processes will be the next one to get execute after P1? It is P3, right? Because the arrival time of P3 is lower as compared to P2. So P3 will get execute next, okay? And so P3 will be popped out from here. So we have only P2 remained in our queue. So once the execution of P3 is over, then P2 will start executing. So we can see that it is following the principle of FIFO, that is first in first out. Here P1 is the guy which gets into the queue at first, right? And hence it is executing, and hence it is the first process to get executed. While P3 comes next, and hence it becomes the next. And while P2, since P2 is the last guy or last process, so it is executing at last. So this is an example of queue data structure or application of queue data structure. So I hope that you like this video. If you like this video, do give a thumbs up to the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon in order to get your latest notification first. So that's all for today. I will see you in my next video.